For Pride Month, we have a special edition of our Changing the Game series. We're highlighting a spice company, Diaspora Co, that's dedicated to creating a more open and equitable environment for everyone, including its suppliers, by the way, about 150 farmers in India and Sri Lanka. Its founder, Sana Javeri Kadri, is also dedicated to selling better spices than we're used to getting here in America, and she's with us now. Sana, thank you so much for being here.
Yes,
welcome.
Looking radiant. I like it.
So as I understand it, you didn't grow up cooking, you didn't grow up near farms, and now you're in the spice business. So how did that happen?
I came to America and started working on an on-campus farm.
How old were you?
I was 18 and just fell in love with it. I didn't really know how vegetables grew. And I think that really made me want to understand what agriculture back home in South Asia was like, specifically regenerative agriculture. Slippery slope to figuring out that spices tasted really bad in America. They were very stale.
What's wrong with the spices?
Most spices on your grocery store shelf are 5 to 7 years old.
Really?
Farmers have been paid 1/100th of the final price, so they're in a cycle of debt.
So they've been sitting there 5 to 7 years?
They're ancient. There's
So-
no flavor.
So you tasted it and you thought what?
I pretty much thought like something is wrong with this system, and went back to India and just discovered that essentially since the colonizers, the British, the Portuguese, the Dutch, nothing about this extremely unjust system had changed. Nobody had rebuilt it. Whereas for coffee, for chocolate, there are other industries where completely shifted system. So yeah, we started working with farmers and we bring stuff fresh straight from harvest. So it's usually sometimes we can get fresh stuff like the saffron you're about to smell is like 3 weeks. Black pepper, maybe 2 months from harvest.
That's incredible.
So let's bring out some of these spices for us to smell. And while we're doing that, you say Diaspora Co is a queer company. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, you know, we often get asked, why make it about queerness? What's the point of that? And I think for me, it says queerness is about equity for all and saying everybody deserves a place at the table. Everybody deserves to be who they fully are. And those are our values as a company. I identify as queer, but it's also about how we want to do business.
Can we talk about saffron? Because it's often described as pound for pound the most expensive spice in the world.
Which one is saffron?
And you post videos of how it's made. I actually have never seen a video of how it's made. How is it made?
Wow.
It's essentially, isn't that wild? It's a flower that only blooms for like a month. And whilst it's blooming, you have to pick the stamens from inside it, these little red things. So they're hand-picked. And then those have to be processed again by hand. It's so labor intensive.
So did you just start working, Sana? Were you just out there tinkering with how did you do this?
I started with one farm and a little loan from my parents.
So you have to work with farmers. Okay.
Yeah, so we work with 100
loan from your parents. Okay, how much was the loan?
It was about $8,000 to start.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think I went back for more. And
today the company's doing what?
we're doing mid-millions, so we've come a long
Whoa,
way.
okay.
Yeah.
So why is it important for you to show where spices come from and, more importantly, how they end up on our tables?
One is fresh, better spices that come straight from the farm are more delicious. It's that simple, right? And we want your home cooking to be its most delicious self.
Yes.
So that's part one. I think the second part is when you know that it comes from plant, because most people are like, oh, I just thought it was a powder.
Right.
You realize
there's a lot
that
of people who
it's
thought
a
that.
fresh harvest. You take it out of the earth. Once you make that connection, you understand why you need to pay more for it and why the farmer needs to get compensated more. Once you understand why the farmer needs to be compensated more, the cycle is complete and you're good.
And you say you thought our spices were too bland. What do you say to people that think your spices are too strong? What do you say?
Use less.
Yeah, get it.
Use less. I love that. Use less.
Oh, man, I love it. I love the packaging here, too. You've got the tasting
It
notes.
smells really good.
You've got something I've never seen before on a spice container, where the product was grown.
So awesome.
And also when it was harvested. I mean, you're being very transparent about all of that. And it's an education. It's also a delight. I'm going to take the saffron unless anyone's going to object.
Go for it,
Once,
Tony.
going twice.
I want to see it on your Instagram, you using it. Sana Javeri Kadri, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Yes.
What an incredible company.